is the lack of leadership and courage that we tend to see in the need to act when it comes to big business and the shifts that we need to make. And I'm going to go through some of this because it's not immediately evident to me as to why we face such a lack of courage, given the kinds of statistics that I'm going to show you. So firstly, just pause for a minute and look at what are these SDGs, and Monet has sketched those out, so I'm not going to go into detail. But from a business perspective, we understand that to meet the 2030 agenda, the need for financing is estimated to be around $2.5 trillion annually, and that's just in developing countries. On the flip side of an issue like that, of course, is huge opportunity. This is not going to be done by governments alone. It is absolutely critical that the private sector participates, that the private sector creates some of the vehicles that will be necessary, but fundamentally actually changes the business, the way the business is operating. Someone's operating my slides lovely. Okay, I didn't want you to read that, so I had to read that. But effectively, so what are companies doing in relation to the SDGs, and are they acting at all, and is it completely hopeless? So what you see up there is in fact the results of a survey that was done by the World Business Council for Sustainable Development. I do. No, thank you. Okay. And this really looks at some of the areas in which that businesses are engaging with the SDGs and why it matters to them. So I started off by saying that it feels like it's a conversation that is hard to have in the boardroom. Yet when you look at the results of the survey and you look at the areas in where businesses have said they are engaging, why they think the SDGs are important, the vast majority of this talks directly to strategy and is actually in the kind of language that you use generally for strategy anyway. And if you just look and follow the colors of the bars, I mean, the very important is the dark blue, which is towards the left of the bar chart. And that dominates most of the categories in which businesses are responding to. So they are seeing that there are opportunity. They do see that it's an opportunity to innovate. And they definitely see their reputational benefits, their business benefits, and it's allowing them to understand risk better, and it's allowing them to understand opportunity better. So this is how the SDGs are currently being used in relation to the survey that the WBCSD conducted. So you might ask, where was this conducted, and is this even relevant to us in South Africa? And the answer is yes, because it's 250 companies globally covering 43 countries across 4 continents. So this is not just, what's happening in the EU, where we might argue that there are better regulations and people are more aware. This is happening across the world. So that first gives us the sense that risk is on the agenda, and the risk narrative often is what is driving better conversations and does seem to find favor in the boardroom. A dominant thought is that we should be factoring this into our enterprise risk management frameworks as businesses. The difficulty with that often is how does one quantify and how do you put that on the agenda? So quantification, I think, particularly in relation to some of the SDGs and some of the broader sustainability challenges, is becoming easier. If you look at climate risk, clearly the poster child, right, by and large, for sustainability, and unfortunately does tend to dominate the conversation, but necessarily so, and is also very linked to many of the other issues we see, is the critical one. When we look at the World Economic Forum global risk reports and we look at the top 10 in terms of likelihood, so this is the World Economic Forum. This is not the sustainability people at the left corner of the organization writing this. The World Economic Forum, which many global CEOs are part of, said that if we have to look and rank the top 10 risks by likelihood, 7 of the top 10 related directly to either environmental or social challenges. So if we don't look at that and understand that is the fundamental of the risk argument, I'm not sure how much more convincing we need to be. Number 1, extreme weather events. Number 2, failure of climate change mitigation and adaptation. By the way, that was also ranked number 2 if you had to do it according to impact. So this ranking is according to the likelihood of the risk. Number 3, natural disasters. Number 6, man-made environmental disasters. Number 7, large-scale involuntary migration, a social issue. Number 8, biodiversity loss and ecosystem collapse. Number 9, the water crisis. Number 10, not an E or an S risk, but asset bubbles in major economies. Driven by what? Largely, we're getting to understand that this could be as a consequence of stranded assets. So if we look at that from a risk perspective, this is overwhelming evidence that suggests to us we need to be taking this, and this kind of conversation is perhaps what we find more favor when we're trying to drive the agenda.